Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
We head out west to Old Wyoming to see what is going on at Fort Laramie, starring Raymond Burr, as it was originally broadcast 67 years ago today, January 22nd, 1956, the first episode of the series, Fort Laramie. And we thank you for tuning in. On this Sunday, 22nd day of January, there are 343 days remaining till we get to the end of the year. Columbia Phonograph Corporation formed in Washington, D.C. in 1889. United Mine Workers of America founded in Columbus, Ohio in 1890. President Woodrow Wilson called for peace without victory in Europe in 1917. The creation of the Central Intelligence Group, the forerunner of the CIA, in 1946. KTLA, the first commercial television station west of the Mississippi, began operating in Hollywood in 1947. In 1952, the first jet airliner, the de Havilland Comet, entered service for British Overseas Airways Corporation.
Oh, wonderful. I think it's the easiest airplane I've ever flown. It's the finest airplane I've ever flown. And this is a universal opinion. I'm very proud that I've known that's gone through this thing. I was amazed.
One pilot's opinion of the de Havilland Comet, the first jet airliner, back in 1952. The New York City Mad Bomber, George P. Medeski, arrested in Waterbury, Connecticut in 1957, charged with planting more than 30 bombs. The Organization of American States suspended Cuba's membership in 1962. In 1968, the Apollo 5 lifted off, carrying the first lunar module into space in 1968. Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In premiered on NBC in 1968, beginning a 4.5-year run that premiered some great entertainers.
Sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me.
And now, folks, it's sock it to me time.
Very interesting, but stupid.
Judy Carn, Artie Johnson, just two of the fine cast members of Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, and you had a number of people on that show, including Richard Nixon, who said, "Sock it to me." Let's see, the Supreme Court delivered its decision in Roe v. Wade, allowing abortion on this date in 1973.
It's very hard to believe that the men on the Supreme Court could have this much of a sense of what is really happening in abortion. You know, so many of the things that the government or the legislature or even departments of health do is so unrelated to the practice of abortion, and this is so specifically related to the practice of abortion that blows my mind.
How many millions of children prior to their birth will never live to see the light of day because of the shocking action of the majority of the United States Supreme Court today?
The decision was reversed in June of 2022. Apple Macintosh, first consumer computer to popularize the computer mouse and the graphical user interface, introduced on this date in 1984 during the Super Bowl with its famous 1984 commercial.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the Information Purification Directives. We have created for the first time in all history a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests of a contradictory laws. Unification of the laws is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Now, the Orwell estate and the television rights holders also sued over this. and they sent a cease and desist letter to Apple, but they got their wish. They got it on television, and they qualified for awards. The Apple Macintosh introduced on this date in introduced over television on this date in 1984. Pennsylvania politician R. Bud Dwyer shot and killed himself at a press conference on live TV on this date in 1987, led to debate on boundaries in journalism. San Francisco beat Cincinnati 20-16 to win the Super Bowl, number 23 in Miami on this date in 1989. Robert Tappan Morris convicted of releasing the 1988 Internet computer worm. 3 Scud missiles and 1 Patriot missile hit Ramat Gan in Israel on this date in 1991, injuring 96 people. 3 elderly people died of heart attacks. Dr. Roberta Bonda became the first Canadian woman in space on this date in 1992 during a space shuttle mission. Kmart became the largest retailer in U.S. history to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection.
No, Kmart is not going out of business. In fact, this is going to help Kmart actually expedite its turnaround plan and be stronger, more profitable, and ultimately more competitive in the marketplace.
300 stores closed, 34,000 employees laid off. The company would be restructured and then end up buying Sears, and neither one of them are in good shape. Last successful contact with the spacecraft Pioneer 10 on this date in 2003. And in 2010, Conan O'Brien ended his brief tenure as host of The Tonight Show after accepting a $45 million buyout from NBC to leave the show after only 7 months. Passing away on this date in history, the man called X, Herbert Marshall, President Lyndon Baines Johnson, Titus Moody, Parker Fennelly passing away on this date, Who Loves You, Kojak, Telly Savalas, pro wrestler Jerry Blackwell, Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy, the matriarch of the Kennedy family, World War II cartoonist Bill Maudlin, also from the Stan Freberg Show, composer, musician, bandleader Billy May, actress-dancer Ann Miller, Watersgate figure Rosemary Woods, actor Heath Ledger, and baseball's Hank Aaron. Now, birthdays on this date include Sir Francis Bacon, D.W. Griffin, Wrong Way Corrigan, who flew the wrong way. I mean, he was supposed to be flying across the ocean. He ended up flying across the country, or was it the other way? I don't remember. Actress Ann Southern, singer Sam Cooke, actor Bill Bixby, and actor John Hurt. Actress Piper Laurie, who, let's see, I got to remember, it was The Hustler she was in, and she got an Academy Award nomination in that. 91 years old today is Piper Laurie. The Galloping Gourmet, Graham Kerr, is 89. Author Joseph Wambaugh, 86. From Journey, Steve Perry, 74. Tully Blanchard, pro wrestler for many years, part of the original Four Horsemen, and in fact, he still works today or has worked for Tony Khan's AEW. Actor Chris, and he's 69. Actor Chris Lemon, 69. Linda Blair, 64 years of age today. DJ Jazzy Jeff is 58. Chef and host Guy Fieri is 55. From the Drew Carey Show on NCIS, Matt Eisman, 52. From Suits, Gabriel Macht is 51. From Malcolm in the Middle, Christopher Masterson is 43. From Seventh Heaven, Beverly Mitchell, 42. Singer and now an interior designer, but y'all remember Willa Ford. She's 42 today. And from As the World Turns and Jessie, Isabella Palmieri is 25. Those some of the people celebrating the 22nd day of January is their birthday, if this is your birthday.
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
And from 67 years ago today, January 22nd, 1956, Raymond Burr, Fort Laramie. I'm Wyatt Cox. You're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on a Sunday here on your favorite station. Classic Radio Theater family, you know our friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. He didn't stop by just creating the best pillow. He created the best bed sheets ever. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, because, you know, I'm working like 67 hours a day. Now, Mike's offering the best deal on his Giza Dreams bed sheets ever. You can get a set of Giza sheets for as low as $29.98. You'll never want to sleep on anything else once you slept on a set of Giza Dream sheets. A special offer for you right now. You can get a set of Giza sheets for as low as $29.98. Call 1-800-928-4715. Use the promo code Wyatt. Or go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Wyatt. It's good on anything on the website. That number again, 1-800-928-4715. Use my promo code Wyatt. Now on this Sunday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we go back January 22nd, 1956. Raymond Burr, Fort Laramie.
Company, charge!
Fort Laramie. Fort Laramie, starring Raymond Burr as Captain Lee Quince. Specially transcribed tales of the dark and tragic ground of the wild frontier. The saga of fighting men who rode the rim of empire. And the dramatic story of Lee Quince, Captain of Cavalry.
Captain Quince. Sergeant Gorse, how are you?
Oh, it's sure good to see you, Captain. You look kind of funny, though.
What do you mean?
Well, them clothes, mufti. I ain't used to you out of uniform.
I'll be back in uniform at midnight tonight, Sergeant. We'll stay in town till then. And you can buy me a drink.
Me? But I thought you was going to get rich in St. Louis.
Did I say that?
Well, you talked about nothing else before your leave come through.
Just proves you shouldn't believe everything you hear, Sergeant.
Yes, sir. I'll try to remember that.
See that you do. And to really fool you, I may go back to St. Louis.
Quit the Army?
Man can make money there, Sergeant. I don't mean gambling. I mean honestly. In an honest business. Buying things. Selling them.
Well, sir, the Army's sure no place for a man who wants to get rich. I'll say that.
The Army's no place for a man who wants to do any living at all. You're either turning black with the boredom of garrison, or you're riding hell-bent into nowhere.
That's sure enough true, Captain.
Oh, come on, let's get our drink. How's B Company, Sergeant?
Company's fine, sir. Major Daggett's going to be mighty glad to see you back at Fort Laramie.
He isn't going to see me till midnight.
He'll be waiting up. Send me into town to tell you.
Oh? Something wrong?
Yes, sir.
Well, what?
Arapahos. They've been raiding for horses. Massacred a whole family over in the basin about 10 days ago.
You mean they jumped the reservation?
Not the whole tribe. Just a few of them, I guess. Mr. Seibert's took B Company out last week, but he didn't have any luck.
Why not?
I don't know, Captain. I wasn't with him.
What?
I've been on sick list till 2 days ago.
Sick list? You?
Yes, sir. Pack mule kicked me in the belly.
Oh. Well, a little whiskey will cure that, Sergeant. Well, here we are.
Mr. Seibert's is feeling mighty bad about it.
Your belly?
Like I said, it's good to have you back, Captain.
Bottle of rye and 2 glasses.
Coming up. The Army. Hey, Moylan, look at what came in.
What's his trouble?
8 soldiers, I guess. Like a lot of people. Since Richmond.
Yeah, too much war, maybe. I guess everybody'd like to forget it now.
We all like to forget it. There's a war still going on.
You're right, sir. Who do they think stands between them and all the hostiles out there waiting to hack them to pieces? Who does all their dirty work for them?
It isn't like people to be grateful for any favors, Sergeant.
No, sir, I guess not.
When I think of the troops aching for home while they sweat and freeze and spill their blood all over the frontier for 50 cents a day, it makes me mad.
Tell me about St. Louis, Captain.
Here's your liquor, gentlemen. Hey, you! Hold it!
You know them, Sergeant?
No, sir.
What's your trouble, mister?
My name ain't Mister. It's Rudio. I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to the soldier.
I'm with the soldier.
You stay out of this. You know what's good for you.
You tell him, Moylan.
What do you want from me? I never saw you before.
Yeah. You won't want to see us again after we're through with you.
What's this all about?
We don't like soldiers drinking where we drink, mister. We like to teach 'em a lesson now and then. Don't we, Moylan?
Yeah, we do it, too.
Now,
you
just
shut up, mister.
What's the matter with you? Coming in here with a soldier. Gonna drink with him, too.
Rudio, I just guess that he ain't no better than no soldier himself. Just scum floating with scum. That's what I call it. Well?
Okay. Sergeant Gorse?
Yes, sir.
You can have Moylan there.
Thank you, sir.
Move out.
I'll buy you that drink now, Captain Quince.
You can buy the first one, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
You're half an hour late, Captain Quince.
I was on the post at midnight, Major. I wanted to get back into uniform before reporting.
I'm glad of that, anyway.
I kind of figured you would be.
You still think I'm too Army, don't you, Lee?
We've known each other a long time, Major.
Since Vicksburg with Grant.
I remember a night in Chattanooga you weren't very Army. I've forgotten the girl's name, of course.
Captain Quince, I trust Sergeant Gorse told you about the Arapaho trouble.
Yeah. They're out raiding for horses. They've slaughtered a family over in the basin.
It's got to be stopped. Settlers are beginning to wonder what the 2nd Cavalry's doing at Fort Laramie.
If this goes on, there won't be any settlers.
Hard enough homesteading this country without a man waiting for him and his family to be massacred by renegade Indians.
I'll take a patrol out in a few days, have a look around.
You'll take B Company out tomorrow morning.
May I make a suggestion, Major Daggett?
If it's in order.
Lieutenant Seiberts took B Company out and found nothing. Sure, he's green, but a few Arapaho can hide easy from a whole troop of cavalry beating its way through this country. Give me 12 men. I'll scout those Indians, get them set up. Then I'll come back for the company.
No, it's too slow. There isn't time.
Better let me try it, sir.
I said no, Captain.
You haven't got very far your way, Major.
You have your orders.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Captain.
Yes, sir.
I heard you and Sergeant Gorse were in a brawl earlier this evening in town.
Conduct unbecoming an officer.
You should learn to control your temper, Captain.
I wonder what family the Arapahos are putting the knife to tonight, Major Daggett.
Should never start this sort of thing with you. Take your patrol.
Yes, sir. Any further orders?
May have Sergeant Gorse and Lieutenant Seiberts, but no other officers or non-commissioned officers.
Right.
Pass your men through the main gates of the post half hour before reveille. Any questions?
No, sir.
Then move out.
There's a cabin just over this rise, Captain Quince.
Ah. Must be new, Mr. Seiberts.
Yes, sir. It is. A man and his family. He's raising horses.
A man's a fool. There's just as good land a day's ride from the fort.
You're right, sir.
Am I, Mr. Seiberts?
Of course, sir.
The only reason this show ended is because Raymond Burr became a big star in television, a little show called Perry Mason. And he said if he had had time to do the show, he would have kept doing it, but the problem was Perry Mason ate every minute of his day. Fort Laramie, from 67 years ago, January 22nd, 1956. You're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station, and we'll have a look at the news from 67 years ago today after these messages from your favorite radio station. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite station, listening to an episode of Fort Laramie starring Raymond Burr from Sunday, January 22nd, 1956. In the newspapers of that Sunday, 67 years ago, these are some of the headlines. British Prime Minister Eden told the British people he believes that out of his forthcoming meeting with President Eisenhower can come perhaps a message of hope and guidance to the world. Speaking on the British Broadcasting Corporation's television network, Eden says that is what we want, a message which I will give, greater confidence in peace. I pray that our mission will succeed. Police fired on frenzied mobs in Bombay, India, whose wave of rioting, arson, and looting threatened to spread across the subcontinent to Calcutta. An official announcement said 19 persons died, raising the death toll to 68 for the 5-day demonstration against Premier Nehru. 2 people shot to death in a suburban area of Bombay. 17 others succumbed to wounds they received in past days. A woman shot to death in Calcutta. The U.S. and Red China have reached complete deadlock in their negotiations at Geneva over lifting the dangers of war from Formosa. That's made clear in a set of 6 documents in a statement on American-Red Chinese talks released by the State Department. The U.S. statement blaming the Red Chinese for the breakdown showed that the differences between the two countries are essentially over possession of the nationalist-held island and not primarily over the question of renouncing the use of force. The Subversive Activities Control Board unanimously rejected a Justice Department suggestion that it reconsider its assignment of member Harry P. Kane as presiding officer in an anti-subversive hearing. It ruled that to disqualify Kane in the Washington Pension Union case would be to embark on a course fraught with fraud and dangers to the public interest. Kane, appointed to the board by President Eisenhower, formerly was a Republican senator from Washington with a reputation as a strong battler against what he denounced as leftism. Richard W. Slocum, president of the American Newspaper Publishers Association, said today there's a tendency in the United States to shut off sources of information. Government officials, he said, have withheld in the name of security all sorts of information having nothing to do with the country's security. Those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Sunday, January 22nd, 1956, on your radio, Fort Laramie, which continues now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
What if the man likes it out here, away from people? That make him a fool?
No, sir.
Then I'm wrong.
I'm afraid I don't understand, sir.
You agree too easily, Mr. Seiberts. Better learn to think for yourself. Now, where's your cabin?
Well, you'll see it in a minute, sir. There it... No. Look, it's been burned.
Sergeant!
It's those Arapahos again, Captain. Yes, Captain.
Look down there, Sergeant. File the patrol out as scouts, Sergeant. 1,000 yards between men. If there's any Indians around, I want to know it. The men will watch us at the cabin for arm signals.
Right, sir.
And then join Mr. Seiberts and me down there. Move out.
Yes, sir.
Wilson. Follow me, Mr. Seiberts.
Right. Looks like they slaughtered every one of them.
Man, a woman, a young boy. This the whole family, Mr. Seiberts?
That's all of them, sir.
Thank God for that.
Every one of them scalped. Even the boy.
At least they weren't tortured.
No, sir.
Tell me, Mr. Seiberts, was the other family like this?
Why, yes, sir.
I see.
Made quite a mess, didn't he?
Take a good look, Sergeant. How many horses did this man have, Mr. Seiberts?
About 10, as I remember, sir.
Well, Sergeant?
Funny thing.
What is?
Well, Captain, I don't know how them Arapahos could have surprised him so fast.
What makes you think they did?
Not many arrows around. If the men had had a chance to put up any fight at all, there'd be a lot of arrows.
Is that all?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
Well, yes, sir.
Sergeant Gorse, I excuse Mr. Seiberts because of his lack of experience. But you're a disgrace to the cavalry. Ought to clean your sleeve and send you back to stable detail.
Yes, sir.
Don't stand there, Gabbin. Use your eyes.
I'm looking.
Look harder.
There ain't no tracks. No tracks? Somebody dragged him out with a blanket.
Somebody? Why do you say somebody, Sergeant?
I don't know, sir. There's something wrong here.
Look, how old's that boy, Sergeant?
Maybe 12, 13.
Old enough to be a brave in a couple of years if he was an Indian?
Yes, sir.
Don't Arapahos usually keep a boy that age and try to make a warrior out of him?
They always do. Now, wait. Them tracks, they wouldn't hide their tracks.
No, they wouldn't.
Captain.
Yeah?
Now I know why you got so mad. I'm pretty mad myself.
Took you long enough. Mr. Seiberts.
Yes, sir?
A man wearing moccasins doesn't care about his tracks. He's got nothing to hide. Wasn't the Arapahos did this. Wasn't Indians at all. It was white men.
January 22nd, 1956, Fort Laramie on this Sunday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. On Monday's Classic Radio Theater, we'll head to the Crime Club in an episode from 76 years ago, January 23rd, 1947, Mr. Smith's Hat. A man calls the police to say he's going to be murdered. 10 seconds later, the man's daughter calls to say she just found the body. That's on Monday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But now the conclusion of Fort Laramie, January 22nd, 1956, 67 years ago today.
Whose place is this, Captain?
Oh, Jake Steele and his wife. Their daughter lives with them.
Shouldn't their daughter live with them, sir?
Ollie's 19, going on 20. She had some schooling back east.
You mean she should be married now?
This country needs women, Mr. Syberts, but it doesn't need single women.
Yes, sir.
Patrol! Hood! Mr. Syberts.
Yes, sir?
Dismount and unsaddle. Dry the horses. Turn them into the corral yonder. Cache the saddles over in that brush so they can't be seen. All other equipment the men will keep.
Yes, sir.
2 men will stand by for escort duty. Move out.
Yes, sir.
Captain Quince, Miss Steele.
Well, Captain, what are you and your troopers doing out here?
I'll tell you if you ask me in.
Oh, well, come in.
Where's your family?
Well, they rode over to the Abbott place.
It's a long ride.
They're spending the night. They'll be back tomorrow. Why? Is there trouble?
No, not for you, Holly.
And what are you doing here?
I came to borrow your ranch.
What?
I need it for a few days, maybe a week.
Now, Captain,
You and your folks can stay with the Abbotts for a while. I'll send for you when I'm through here.
You seem to have it all figured out.
I have.
Of course. Shall I leave right now, Captain Quince?
Sooner the better. I'm sending an escort with you.
Well, that's very kind of you.
I can spare a couple of troopers.
Then you'll move in here.
Sergeant Gorse and me.
Wouldn't you like for me to stay and cook for you?
No. You couldn't do that.
Why? Don't you think I'm a good cook?
Maybe when this is over, I'll ride back sometime and find out.
Captain Quince, just because you and I've met once or twice at Fort Laramie dances...
Just a minute, Miss Holly. You don't understand.
Don't I?
I should have explained. There's going to be a fight here.
Fight?
I'm using this place for a trap, baiting it with a bunch of horses. And when the men I'm after come for them, well, we'll be waiting.
What men?
Men who've been stealing horses, murdering settler families, blaming it on the Arapahos.
You mean it's white men who've been doing that?
I do.
Captain Quince, I'm beginning to understand that being in the cavalry, you're accustomed to ordering people around and not explaining anything.
I'm sorry, Holly, I upset you.
Now, if you'll wait outside while I get some things together, I'll ride up to the Abbotts with that escort you promised me.
Good.
Oh, Captain.
Yes?
I hope you have a chance someday to find out about my cooking. What I mean is, good luck.
Thank you, Holly.
Go on, get out of here now.
Well, it took me that long to do something. I'd get busted to a private.
You can still get busted, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Syberts!
Right here, Captain.
You'll take over the patrol, Mr. Syberts. I want you to spot the men in a complete circle around this place, half a mile out. They're to dig in. And when they think they're hidden, I'm going to ride that circle.
I understand, sir.
Heaven help any trooper I can see.
Yes, sir.
They're to let those men through. But when they hear gunfire from the cabin here, they're to kill anything that tries to get back out. Any questions?
No, sir.
Move out.
Yes, sir.
Well, Sergeant, you and I are going to be sitting on the pan of this trap.
Like poisoned meat, huh?
Maybe. Before we get off. You have to do that, Sergeant.
I didn't join the Army to be locked up in this coop for 3 days.
Maybe you'd rather be sitting outside with the real men, half buried, afraid to move, with nothing but a canteen of water and a handful of jerky.
And no smokes?
And no smokes.
Captain Quince, I never had it so good, sir.
Then shut up. Dark out already?
Good. Ain't the kind of men who'd attack even a woman in the daylight.
No, I guess not. Gorse, you lied to me.
What?
No smokes. You tried to make me think you'd find it rough out there with the troopers because they can't smoke.
Well?
You never smoked in your life, you ape. Not with that quid of tobacco in your jaw day and night. What are you trying to give me?
You need action too, Captain. Bad as I do.
Yeah, I do.
3 days of this is worse than a winter in garrison. You go to St. Louis, I'm going with you. That easy money...
Shh, wait. Come here.
What is it?
Horses. Listen.
We got him, Captain. We got him.
Okay. Move fast. Get out the back window. Come up the off side of the cabin. But don't shoot till I get at least one of them inside here.
Yes, sir. Good hunting, Captain.
Same to you, Sergeant.
Hello? Hello there. Come on, open up. We want to have a little talk with you.
Look out, Jim. He'll have a gun.
Listen, mister. We ain't gonna hurt nobody. We got something to tell you is all.
Let's fix them and get out of here, Jim.
We're just passing by, mister. Got some news for you.
Maybe there ain't nobody home.
They wouldn't leave all them horses alone, would they? I'm coming in, mister. Don't shoot now. Have your daughter light the lamp, mister. Then we can talk.
Jim. What happened?
You're next, mister. You okay, Sergeant?
Yes, sir. Well, we got two of them anyway.
I didn't realize there were more than that.
He was holding their horses.
Well, the troopers will take care of him. They deserve a little action, too.
They sure do. Who are they, do you know?
Strangers.
The one inside dead?
I didn't kill him.
But you took an awful chance, Captain.
It'll be worth it. Maybe we can find out what they did with all the horses they've stolen. Maybe we can take them back.
Yes, sir. But, well, there's two families won't never get theirs. Hear that, Captain?
Mission accomplished.
No more women and kids dying hard. Feels kind of good, don't it, Captain? Don't it?
Sergeant?
Yes, sir?
Feels a whole lot better than making money in St. Louis.
Fort Laramie is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald and stars Raymond Burr as Lee Quince, Captain of Cavalry, with Vic Perrin as Sergeant Gorse. The script was specially written for Fort Laramie by John Meston, with sound patterns by Bill James and Ray Kemper. Musical supervision by Amerigo Marino. Featured in the cast were Harry Bartell, Dan Riss, and Joyce McCluskey, with Lawrence Dobkin, Clayton Post, Paul Duboff, and James Nusser. Old Man Trouble takes it on the chin 5 nights a week when Bing begins to sing, which is just dandy for everybody else who's listening in. Since Old Man Trouble has no great charm to speak of, and since Bing Crosby has an ear for melody, a cheery disposition, and many other charms as well, folks naturally prefer to spend their time with Bing. For good company and easygoing songs, hear The Bing Crosby Show Monday through Friday nights over most of these same stations.
Company, tension! Dismiss!
Join us again next week for another transcribed story of the Northwest frontier and the troopers who fought under Lee Quince, Captain of Cavalry.
From 67 years ago, January 22nd, 1956, Fort Laramie here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit my webpage, classicradio.stream. Stream our shows. Learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can contact me there, find our social media links, and you can also buy me a copy. The Buy Me a Copy money helps us acquire additional classic radio collections, and it also helps us keep our distribution channels up and running. That's at classicradio.stream. Thanks for tuning in. Thank this station. Support the advertisers. Tell your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.